Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the SomerKnits podcast. Welcome back to SomerKnits. This is a podcast all about knitting where I share my finished objects, works in progress, and things that I hope to start in the near future, distant future. It depends on how much I have going on, and also some acquisitions occasionally. My name is Summer, and I'm a knitter based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I live with my dogs, my 2 kids, my husband, and a few chickens. I thank you so much for joining me today, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and thank you so much for your continued support. I didn't have any knitwear to wear today. Nothing new is finished, and it's very hot outside. This week has been in the upper 90s Fahrenheit, so fairly warm. I hadn't necessarily planned on recording this week because I've recorded the last 2 weeks in a row, but I'm afraid that upcoming busy schedules and the kids being home, not having camps to go to and things, will cause it to be a little while until I have the free time and the time home alone long enough to record another episode. Other summer travel plans will eventually get in the way as well, and it's kind of up in the air, so I take the recording time when I can. I look forward to recording these videos like a chat with an old friend. It means a lot to me to connect with each and every one of you, and I really do cherish this time of recording, and I appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch. I am trying recording differently this week than I have in the past. It was brought to my attention that sometimes my videos can be a little grainy or low resolution. I have recorded in the past with Photo Booth on my Mac laptop. And even though it looks very clear on my screen, I didn't realize that the quality that Photo Booth records at is slightly lower than the Mac is actually capable of. So I'm trying today recording directly into iMovie, and we will see if the quality is any better, and I would love your feedback. The only thing is, on the screen, it is a flipped image, so if I reach my right hand up, I see it on the left side of my screen, which could throw me off a little bit, but I will do my best not to gesture wildly and look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that was a very long intro. Thank you for bearing with me as I try something new and hope to increase the quality of what I'm sending out into the world. What I am wearing today, I know you can just barely see the top of it, is my summer sock camp shirt. It came a lot wider at the neckline than I realized it would. The measurements in the online store were for the chest circumference and the length of the body, and it did not actually share the width of the neck opening. So I probably should have gone down a size in the shirt, and I have washed it with the intention of shrinking it, and next time I'm going to try washing it in actually warm water and drying it again, hopefully shrinking it a little further, just to try and pull that neckline in a bit. Otherwise, I love it. It's loose and floaty and comfortable and cool enough for these super hot days, so I do appreciate that quite a bit. Let's dive into my works in progress, even though a number of them haven't changed a whole lot since last week, because I have really been focusing on my Testknit. So I will try really hard not to talk while I'm not facing the camera. I know that can be difficult, but I will do my best. I am test knitting the Sunkissed CT for Herbgarden Knitwear, and if you've been here before, you've been watching the progress of this for the last month and a half, maybe month. I'm I don't remember what date I cast it on. I guess I could look in my Ravelry page. But I have till the end of the month. But in the goals set out in Yarn Pond, which is where the Testknit is hosted, the goal is to have the body finished. See, I'm doing it already. I'm trying to get hair out of my eyes, and I am reaching up with the wrong hand. The goal is to have the body finished by the 22nd of June, which I realize is still a week away. But I'm always so paranoid about falling behind or missing a deadline or getting busy that I prefer not to have these things go to the last minute. I did a fit check last night, and I will try and insert a picture. And the pattern says that I have 1 more inch on the body before I switch needles for the hem, and then I will go on to the sleeves and do those as well. And it is just short sleeves, so the sleeves shouldn't take very long. But I did want to share my progress. And I realize it's somewhat hard to see because it is on a small circumference needle at the bottom, so it's not totally spread out. But it is a loose and floaty and wonderful feeling tee. I am using Holst Yarn Coast, which is a wool and cotton blend. Let me grab it real quick. So it's lamb's wool and cotton. It's 55% lamb's wool, 45% cotton. The main body of my shirt is in the color cobalt. And then I believe the purple was butterfly and the blue was robin's egg or something. I just saw it this morning. I will put the colors below. But there are so many possibilities with this tee. One that I toyed around with was repeating the fade sequence at the bottom rather than having the whole bottom be just the main color. But I couldn't decide if I wanted to mess around with that and the extra ends or keep the Testknit the way it was. If I was to make one again, I probably would, even if it was just using one of the colors, do another stripe closer to the bottom just to add more color. But you could also do that if you were running out of your main color. You could fade back into one of these. You could do all the way back. So I could fade this one again and then all the way back to purple for the hemline. So it almost was, so it went from one to the other and all the way back again. And I still think that that would be beautiful. So this is the Sunkissed CT by Hannah of Herbgarden Knitwear. And I'm not sure of the actual release date yet, but it is a linen stitch. Let me see. I don't know how clear it will be. It looks pretty good. So a linen stitch is where you knit one, slip one, all the way around. And it works best with an odd number of stitches. And I have done it before on bulkier weight yarns, made hats and KALs and things with linen stitch because I do think it comes out beautifully. It's also a good one for dishcloths. If you're using cotton to make a dishcloth, you can make a really pretty yet simple one that's nice and sturdy and scrubby using linen stitch because it comes out denser than stockinette. So if you purchase this pattern, you might think the needle size suggested against the yarn weight suggested is a little bit off, but it's not. So try swatching with the suggested needle size. I am using US size 8s for the body, and I will have to go down for the hem, and I don't recall off the top of my head what needle size I will need for that, and I'll have to look when I get to that point. But try swatching with the larger needle, even though it's a lace weight yarn, and you may be tempted to go down. Because the point of this tee is to have a tee that is loose and breezy and drapey and beautiful. The original yarn the pattern calls for is a wool and silk blend, which I also purchased Holst Tides to try, but I liked the fabric I was getting from the Holst Coast. and I went ahead and went with that. I didn't even swatch the tides. I probably could have it slightly thicker than the coast. That might be why the body has taken me so long, because the coast is slightly thinner than tides, which is a little bit closer to the GGH lacy, which is the recommended yarn. So, getting very close, and I'm very excited about this one because I think that it will be super wearable for me. I think that this is going to be an easy reach for tee, and I think it'll be elegant enough looking to pair with nice slacks, or even layer over a dress or with a slim fitting skirt to wear to my office. But I also think that it's going to be light and breathable and casual enough to just wear out with my family, or, you know, to a barbecue or something. Like, I think it's going to be a very versatile tee, and I absolutely think it's going to be worth the time that I've put into it. So I do recommend checking it out when it comes out if you are into lightweight summer knits. I know that I said it felt like it was taking me forever, but what really helped me was occasionally putting a progress keeper in to mark a milestone. So I worked a youth opera last week, and I had a lot of sitting time, which is how I got most of the body done. But at the very last show, it's black, so it's going to be very hard to see. I put a little light bulb stitch marker in because I wanted to know that I was still making progress even without quite as many hours a day of knitting time. And I have. I've gotten over an inch since that was Sunday that I put the marker in. So I've gotten over an inch since Sunday, and I feel like I'll finish the body of the tee this week and be able to go on to the sleeves and hopefully have it blocked and pictures taken well before the deadline. The only caveat to that is that my youngest is turning 7, and there will be birthday festivities and things happening, so my knitting time may not be as much as it normally is. I won't have a Saturday morning of just watching podcasts and knitting away. I'll be doing party prep and spoiling my kiddo and just spending time with him, because that's what you do for birthdays. So that is my Sunkissed CT, and that was quite a lot about the Sunkissed CT. So I had planned to keep this episode brief, but if that was any indication, I apologize ahead of time for if this gets lengthy. I am going to go ahead and show each project, even if it hasn't had a ton of progress, because it may be a while until I record again. So the next bag, I know we talked about how I finished that Weekender Shorty sock. This is still the second weekend Shorty sock. Not much has happened there other than casting on and getting it started, but at least it's on the needles, and when I finish the tee, it will be right there ready for me, because I do want to avoid that second sock syndrome, and I do want to be able to enter my weekend Shorty socks as part of summer sock camp. So I do love them. I think they're bright and happy, and I think the fact that I'm changing up where the contrast colors are, well, not where they are, but which contrast colors are going where, will keep me interested in the final product. So starting with the pink instead of the turquoise and going from there. That one was quick. Oh, most of those yarns are by Southern Skeins. The turquoise and the multi were a sock set, and then the other two were random minis from my large basket of minis. But a lot of my minis are from sock sets from her, where I didn't use the mini with the sock yarn, or however that ended up working out. The next thing, still on my needles, of course, that's only had a little bit of attention since you saw it last, and it may not even be super visible to you because I don't remember where it was last time, but I am still working on my pastel stripe Musselburgh hat. And this is part of the Oddball Along that is hosted by Caroline of Caroline's Knits and Naomi of NJ Knits. Both awesome podcasts that you should definitely check out if you're looking for something to watch. But also, I was hoping to enter it into the Books and Beanies being hosted by Professor Purl. Because I love a good story, I love a good book, and I love a good hat. So this is my fourth Musselburgh hat, and this is the best project for just keeping in my purse because it doesn't matter where I stop in the round. It doesn't matter how many stitches I have time to do. I can just keep going. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to think about it. So I was really excited. I was picking my daughter up from camp and we were watching the closing ceremony, and a lady came up to me and first she asked me if I was knitting a baby hat, and I said no, and I started to describe the pattern, and she said, "Oh, is that the Musselburgh hat?" And I was like, yes. And so it was really fun to talk to somebody in the wild who was like, I like that pattern too. So that was just a neat happening, but I'm still in love with this yarn. It is Two Sisters Yarn Company. I must have taken the label out of the bag. The colorway is Peter Cottontail, and I got it in February when I was in Bozeman, Montana, and I stopped by Sticks Yarn Store just for a few minutes, and I wanted to grab a couple souvenirs, which is why this particular ball of yarn is part of the Oddball Along. It's one of those super special super special souvenir skeins that you get to commemorate a trip or something, and sometimes it can be very hard to use those and they can sit in stash for a long time. So rather than leave it sitting in stash for a long time, I decided to just cast it on. And originally I was going to make myself socks with this yarn because I have not made a whole lot of self-striping socks. But it's so beautiful to me. I love the colors so much that, and I'm not knocking hand knit socks. I love hand knit socks, but I didn't want to hide it on my feet. I wanted it to be more visible than that. And I think the Musselburgh hat pattern is an amazing pattern for using, because you can use so many different weights of yarn, for using those special skeins that you have because you want to remember something, and you want them to be super visible. And so I figured this would be the perfect use for my oddball of self-striping sock yarn. And so that's coming along nicely. And I think that it's going to go faster almost than I want it to because it's such a nice project to have on the needles. But I actually have some yarn I ordered. I did place an order for some rainbow yarn. It is Pride Month, and I wanted some beautiful rainbow yarn. I have a friend I'd like to make a Musselburgh for, actually. So I ordered that yarn. It says it's going to arrive today, but I didn't think it would arrive in time for filming, and I have not seen the postman come. Although if he does, I'll see it right out my window. If he comes, I'm totally going to pause and run out there and get it because I'm very excited to make this hat for my friend. It's going to be beautiful. I don't think it was self-striping. I think it's more of a variegated, but the photos are beautiful, and I hope it lives up to what I've seen online. And then the only new thing I've cast on since the last episode is the socks for my mom. If you'll remember, I asked a friend of mine to yarn mule for me because she was going over to teach a class at a chick that knits. So my friend Jane picked up some yarn for me at the store, and this is Tropical Flowers. Let's see if I can. That's pretty accurate. It's showing a little dark. It's pretty bright in person. But this is Tropical Flowers, and the coordinating mini is Fuchsia. And they are by a chick that knits, and she dyes some of the most beautiful yarn. Here's the label if you're looking for her shop. And this is her Tropical Flowers and her deluxe sock, 85% superwash extra fine merino, 15% nylon, and it is 393 yards to 100 grams. So it's a little bit squishier, just barely, than your average sock yarn, which is lovely to work with. So A Chick That Knits, and they are an Oklahoma dyer. So happy to support semi-local. But check her out because her yarn is amazing. And I cast on, I was going to do the DK Vanilla Sock by Kay the Crazy Sock Lady, but I read the pattern and I just didn't really want to have to swatch, and I am more familiar with the sizing on Summer Lee's sock patterns, so I ended up doing I believe this is the Thickmas Vanilla sock. It's got a 2x1 rib at the top that's nice and squishy, and I did the cast on and first row in the contrasting color, and then I switched to the main color and did the rest of it. I did 2.5 inches of the 2x1 ribbing, which is what the pattern calls for, in the size medium. The size medium in Summer Lee's designs is the same circumference listed as the size small in Kay the Crazy Sock Lady's pattern. So it makes me wonder if Kay's pattern would be too big if I tried to make a pair for myself, but I may try, and then if they're too big for me, put them in my gift stash, because I like the idea of trying another DK weight vanilla sock pattern, but there are more sizes offered in Summer Lee's DK weight patterns. I have a US size 6.5 foot, a small foot, even for a female. So I find a lot of sock patterns that are one size or just small, medium, large don't offer a small enough sock or a well-fitting sock for me. Like I've done the Hermione's everyday socks and they come out too big. So if I was to do them again, I would sit down and do the math to decrease the circumference because they're just too big. So I don't typically wear them in shoes. I only wear them at home, where it doesn't matter if they slide around on my feet. Because I did use really nice hedgehog fibers yarn when I made them. They're just too big. So anyway, I'm always looking for sock patterns that go down to a 7-inch foot circumference rather than starting with an 8-inch foot circumference. So just something I look at now when I buy sock patterns that I didn't used to before. But I've started on the leg, and I believe you knit until the whole thing is 4 or 4.5 inches before you start the heel turn. I believe this one is heel flap and gusset. I have done, I feel like the light in my room has started to oscillate a little bit with the fan, but hopefully not. I have done her Thanksgiving vanilla socks, which have a forethought heel in them, I believe. And that is where, instead of an afterthought heel where you pick up stitches and cut in order to add the heel, a forethought heel is where you know where you're going to put the heel in later, and you knit a piece of scrap yarn into the sock. And then when you're ready, you go back and you pick up along either side of your scrap yarn and you're ready to put your heel in. And I prefer that over having to cut in an afterthought heel. But that's personal preference, and everybody's different. So if I do a tube for a sock, I try to do a forethought heel line where I tried it on, I know how tall I want it to be, put the little heel line in there and go. So anyway, these are going to be my mother's birthday socks. Hopefully I can get the color to show nicely there. It is just so beautiful. It's knitting up so nice. And I know this is part of her planned pooling series, and I know that because I'm holding it double, it's not pooling the way the dyer intended, but I feel like it's speckling instead, and I love it. So I'm not mad at all. I absolutely adore it. It's so squishy in my hands. I am using 9-inch circulars again. I had fully intended to do magic loop, because sometimes my hands do hurt when doing 9-inch circulars, but it was just so easy to start on the 9-inch circulars, and I just kept going. I may switch to magic loop for the heel flap and gusset, because on the thicker yarn, it can be harder to keep all those stitches on the tiny needles. But anyway, super pleased with that. That was just one evening of starting it and then realizing, okay, I'm getting distracted. I need to go back to my Sunkissed CT before I get so distracted that I don't finish it on time. So I forced myself, even though, I mean, like I said, 100% worth it, but I did force myself to go back to my Sunkissed CT, because I have until my mom's birthday to get these done, which is still a month away. And I think it'll be fine. And I actually don't think we're getting together to celebrate until a week or two after her birthday anyway. So I have time to finish these, but they're definitely going to be the next priority after I finish the tea. And even though these socks are going to be the priority, I am still trying to decide what my next summer shirt cast on is going to be for myself. So there are 3 top contenders, and I would love your opinions. I didn't grab the yarn, so I can't just hold the yarns up and talk about it. But my 3 top pattern contenders for my next summer shirt for myself are the Look at My Holes by James N. Watts. And I should mention I have the yarn for all of these choices already. And I had actually planned on the Summer Souffle being my next cast on. But either I misunderstood when I was talking to Laura before the pattern came out, or there was a yardage difference put into the finished pattern. I don't know, maybe for size allowance. But when I had first talked to her, I thought I had enough of the Knitting for Olive, Cotton Merino, and Coral to do the Summer Souffle. Because I have 5 balls, which I thought for the bust size I was planning to do was going to be enough. But in looking at the yardage recommendations, once the pattern was published and I purchased it, it says that I need, I think it was like 900 yards per strand, and it's held double. So I definitely don't have that, because I believe there's only 250 yards or meters or something. I forget. In the Cotton Merino. Anyway, I did the math. I don't think I have enough. So that's out for now, unless I order more and try and get the same dye lot, or I switch yarns. So otherwise, I would join Professor Purl's More Souffle Please Knit Along. I can't fathom trying to do a mohair one right now in the hot, humid, sticky summer where I live. It just, I think I'd make it and love it, but be sad I couldn't wear it. But also, it's so hot and muggy here that I'm not sure I'd want it in my hands. Like if my hands were sweaty or anything like that. I just think it'd be difficult to work on where I live. But, it's possible that I could do it only at home, only in the air conditioning, and still get it done. So we'll see. But top 3 contenders for my next, I'm going to try taking my glasses off. I will not be able to see the computer screen because I am blind as a bat. So maybe my eye contact is going to be terrible. But I feel like my glasses are reflecting everything. I have the windows open, and the sun is hitting the leaves on the trees, and anyway. You don't need to hear it all. I felt like my glasses were reflecting a whole lot. So, anyway, let's go back to it. Top 3 choices of summer shirt to cast on for myself. Feel free to give me your opinions. Look at My Holes by James N. Watts is one of them. I already have the yarn. My husband and kids gave it to me for Christmas, and it is the Kelborn Woolens Mojave. And I used that yarn last year for an outline tank, and I absolutely love it. So I know I love the yarn. I think that it would be a really fun shirt to have for layering, and I just think it'd be really cute. I've seen a lot of amazing versions of that pattern, so that is a top contender. The second one is the Petal Party Crop, which has been on my list since it came out. I mean, the previews of it before the pattern was even released. I bought it the day it was released. I think it's a beautiful design. I absolutely love this shirt. And then when I got the bright, speckly March yarn from Southern Skeins, I was like, this is it. This is the Petal Party Crop. So I have the yarn. I love the pattern. I have the pattern. I purchased it the day it came out last year. So that is definitely a top contender as well. I just think it looks amazing. And then Kelly of KALs, her Petal Party Crop recently was just gorgeous. I do want to swatch up the speckled yarn and see if it's going to pool too much, although hopefully it is overall speckled enough that it spreads out nicely. I do have a backup choice of yarn if that one isn't going to work. So I have the yarn either way for the Petal Party Crop. And then the third shirt I'm considering is the SomerKnits, and I love the sampler style. I also think it would be really engaging and interesting enough to keep me going. I do realize it would be a pattern that I would have to pay more attention to and count my rows. I can't decide if that would be a good or bad road trip knitting pattern. The times that we're just in the car, I can do knitting that needs more detailed tracking because I'm just sitting there. We're not going anywhere. It would definitely not be a walking around project, and I understand that, so I would have backup projects with me. I would definitely take the muscle bra I'm working on and socks and other smaller things that would be easier to carry around. So those are my top 3 choices for summer shirts for myself for my next cast on. And I have a million summer shirts I want to make, but those are the 3 I'm considering for the absolute next thing. So if you have an opinion or you've made one of them or you just have a suggestion, the SomerKnits would be in white. I believe I would use the Sandnes Garn Tinlina, I think is how people say it, held double because I have a lot of that in white. I think the white gives it a beautiful classic look that would make it able to be dressed up or dressed down. I think the Petal Party Crop also lends towards going either way because it is just such a beautiful, classy looking design. But you could also throw it on with jean shorts and just be super comfortable. So I'm very torn on this. I want to make them all, and I realize that I can't make them all at the same time. So feel free to let me know what you think about that. That's kind of where I stand on next cast on once I finish this test knit. I do have some acquisitions to share. If acquisitions are not your thing, thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you will be back again. Please take a second to like the video if you enjoyed it. That does help with visibility on YouTube. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're working on or if you have an opinion on my next summer shirt. Let me know if you're joining Summer Sock Camp or doing the More Souffle Please Knit Along or the Books and Beanies. I've come to really love Professor Purl's podcast, and I look forward to her episodes. So if you haven't watched her before, and I feel like everybody has, but if you haven't, please go check her out. She is an amazing knitter and so fun to listen to. So on to the acquisitions. I keep forgetting to mention the Llama Love Joy countdown to summer solstice calendar that I won in a drawing on Instagram. And just a side note, if you are trying to enter a drawing on Instagram where you have to tag friends, you are always welcome to tag me. I will not be offended, even if we have never spoken. I understand sometimes it can be hard to know who it's okay to tag and who it's not, because you don't want to bother your friends, but it's fun to enter giveaways. And if you don't enter, you'll never win. So absolutely, you should always feel free to tag me. Even if I don't end up entering, that's not a problem. Just so you always have somebody to tag, feel free to tag me. And I've seen other people share messages in their stories to the same end, that, you know, feel free to tag people that you know, but feel free to tag some of us who maybe you don't know, but, you know, everybody deserves a chance to enter, right? So anyway, I won this drawing for a summer solstice countdown calendar, and I ended up with the fingering weight. I believe it's the 75-25 blend. Like I told you, I can't see very well without my glasses. So yes, mine is the 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. The 100-gram skein has 463 yards, and the 20-gram skeins have 92 yards. So she put a card with the details. There was a card saying when to start. See this whole moving backwards camera thing. So you started on June 9th and you'll end with the finale on the 21st. And it is by Llama Lovejoy. And there was a sticker too, which has probably fallen down into the box, but it was a cute little llama, and if I find it, I will show it to you. But the first day was melon, and it is a pretty little peachy melon color. So far, and that holds true through today, I have liked the odd days better than the even days. They've just been more in my color scheme and something that I can absolutely see myself using. And the even numbered days have been a little more, not sure where I'll use that, but I'll keep them in my little mini skein basket. And I'm sure in making gifts or things, I will find uses. So Campfire is day 2. And it has like reds, oranges, and this charcoal color. I don't know how well you can see the oranges in there. Sorry, I'm covering my mouth again. Let me know, please, if this camera is focusing better recording this way than it has been using Photo Booth. I would really appreciate the feedback. So day 3 is Raspberry Cream. I love day 3. Whoop. I'll get the hang of this, everything being backwards eventually. Look at that. Raspberry Cream is definitely right up my alley. I could see myself wanting a whole skein of the Raspberry Cream. But then day 4 is Sherbet, and it's just brownier than anything I typically use. So there's a lot of gold and rusty color in there. And I mean, there's pinkiness to it, but it's a warm, earthy pinkiness. And it's just not 100% my color. But there's nothing wrong with the color. It's just not my color. This next one is amazing, and it is Watermelon. I love the bright pink of the watermelon. I think it's gorgeous. And then back to an even number day, we have Waffle Cone, which definitely has the toasty browns of a waffle cone when you go to the ice cream shop. And then today's, so if you have this calendar and you have not opened, I don't know when I'll get this edited and uploaded, but if you haven't opened day 7, don't watch. It is Lemonade. It's so bright and happy, and I adore it. I've gotten to where I really love yellows, and I wouldn't say that I did when I was younger, but I really love yellows now. So there are boxes for the rest of the way to the 21st, and then there will be a large skein for the very last day, and I am super excited about having those. It came, oh, I found the sticker. That's what happens when I put things up close to me and I can actually see them. Look at that little llama. He's so cute. It came in a really nice box. And I was just super impressed with the packaging and how pretty everything was, and how nice it's been to have that little fun thing every morning to do. I do notice that she posts the reveal pretty quickly each day, so I have made a point of opening mine first thing in the morning because I do not want to see a spoiler on Instagram. And with the autoplay feature on Instagram, sometimes you don't have a choice about the things that you see quickly. So anyway, I would totally buy one of her countdown calendars. I was not familiar with her work before, but I absolutely recommend it. The yarn is so soft. Someone else I know won the DK weight. These were, the reason she did a giveaway for 3 additional calendars is because she ended up with extras, whether it was a miscount or made just in case. She ended up with extra calendars. So rather than pop them onto her website, she very generously did a drawing and immediately shipped out to the winners. And I thought that was really nice and very special of her. So thank you so much. I have loved this countdown calendar, and I'm very excited for each day coming up. My next acquisition is one that I have waffled over and put off for a while, but so many podcasters have been bitten by this bug, and I was just super curious, so I really needed to try. And before I placed my order, I did message Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me and ask for some advice about how much to order, and then I ordered more than that. So I ordered some Nutiden. And I know that seems very podcaster trendy right now, but I went with this neutral fade. It goes from a charcoaly gray to a really light gray, and I'm going to hold it double so you can see the fade in each one is different. They're not all the same as far as the rate of fade. Some plates are smaller than others, but I got a 500 gram bag, so overall I have 500 grams. Sorry for the crinkling and the leaning. Oh, I don't even know if I can get this all out of here. So I cut the bag open, but I didn't pull everything out. And since I cut the bag open and the air could get to it, all the plates have reinflated. And so now they're really tight in the bag. So my own fault. But you can see, like, it's so light and fluffy. If you are not familiar with Nutiden, it is an unspun yarn that is very fragile while you're knitting with it, while it's still in the plates. There's a lot in a 500 gram bag, which a 500 gram bag is recommended to do a medium to large sweater if you're holding it double. If you're holding it single, obviously you can get a lot farther with it. But I was just amazed how much was in this 500 gram bag. Okay. Oh, I dropped one of the plates. So there's another plate on the floor. It's the smaller one. But you can see so much fluff. What am I going to do with this fluff? So I want an oversized, throw on over everything, fluffy cardigan. And I'm going to hold it double so that it's approximately a DK weight. So if you have a DK weight oversized cardigan that you love, feel free to drop that link below. But I'm going to hold it double, and I'm going to make sure the fade starts in different places so that it's less of a fade through the sweater and more of a marling, which I think will be really cool because it'll overall even up the tone of the sweater, but it'll still give that variation and interest. At least I think it will. So, like if I was using these two plates together, I could pull from the outside of both plates because they're in different places in their fade. But if I was using two that were both dark on the outside, I might wind off to where one was light and one was dark to start. But I just think it'll make a really cool, very neutral cardigan that I can wear with anything. I probably won't start it right away because it is hot here, and I wear a cardigan at work sometimes because of excessive air conditioning, but I don't know, this might be too hot for summer here, even in the excessive air conditioning. But I'm very excited to try my very first Nutiden, and then because it didn't change the shipping price, and the shipping price is, I think it's the same all the way up to 2 kilograms or something, which I was not buying anywhere near 2 kilograms. But I went ahead and ordered this really light gray as well, because I really wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, it's sold by grams and not yards, and I didn't have a concept of how much 500 grams meant, so I got a 300 gram bag of the light gray, and I thought, sorry, so much crinkling, I apologize. Okay, all done with the crinkling. I thought that I could make another sweater if I didn't need this for like doing collars, cuffs, and button band on the cardigan, which I don't think I will now that I've seen all this yarn. I thought maybe I could use this light gray with a silvery mohair and do a sweater where I actually hold just one strand of the Nutiden with a strand of silk mohair. And I think that would be really gorgeous in a light gray. If you look at it up close, you can see the blending of the fibers. So it's not just one color in there. It's like you can see the gray blended with the darker, and it's just got a lot of visual interest up close, which is what I had been hearing over and over again from other podcasters about Nutiden. So I'm very excited to try my very first plates of Nutiden. I know that Bella of 100 Acre Wool is obsessed with Nutiden. I know that Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me absolutely loves it. I know there are other brands of unspun yarn, but I just really wanted to try this one because I'd heard so many good things. So I'm very excited for my very first unspun yarn, my very first Nutiden. There's no way it's going back in this bag now because it has all fluffed up in the air, and it was compressed very well in there. We got home one evening when it had been delivered, and it was in a small paper package on our front porch. And my husband goes, you got a package of yarn. And I was like, how do you know it's yarn? Like, it was dark. He hadn't even touched it. He had definitely not read the shipping label or anything. And he just kind of looked at it on the ground and was like, it looks like yarn. And so my son pokes it, just pokes the package. And he was like, it's yarn, Mom. And I was like, well, how do you know it's yarn? He said it feels like yarn. And I was like, It's yarn. So I felt a little called out by my child and my husband, but that's all right. They know me and they knew it was yarn. And that's okay. Because, yarn makes me happy. I have a dish towel my neighbor gave me for my birthday last year. I think it was for my birthday last year. And it says, coffee makes me happy, yarn makes me happier. So I thought that was very appropriate. I don't think I have anything else to share because the postman has not driven by yet. So the rainbow yarn is not here yet. I did get a shipping notice on my June Southern Skeins package. So if you are interested in Southern Skeins, check out the referral link below, or the coupon code for 15% off will also be down there. I love her yarn. I love getting a surprise package each month, and I think that it is not too late to order the Knot Sock box for June. And then there is also the option of the sock box for July coming up. So check those out if you're interested. Like I said, it could be a while before I get to record again. I don't know exactly, but thank you so much for being here with me today. And I look forward to these podcasts, like I said, like a chat with an old friend. And so I was very excited to have the time to film today and to spend with you. Your likes, comments, and subscribes mean the world to me. Find me on Instagram, or I'm on a few Discord servers that I would love to chat with you more. I love to talk about knitting, and right now I don't have anyone to talk about knitting in person with. So the more of you that want to talk about knitting with me, the better. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time, whenever next time happens to be. Take care and have a wonderful day.